Within a matter of days, the U.S. Supreme Court could rule on the two most consequential Trump legal matters. We are awaiting a ruling on Donald Trump's 14th Amendment ballot disqualification case in Colorado and a ruling in his presidential immunity case. Trump has asked the court to pause the lower court ruling rejecting his claim of absolute immunity for his acts in the lead up to the January 6th insurrection. Special counsel Jack Smith has urged the court to reject Trump's request and move quickly. A reminder that in its unanimous 57-page decision, the D.C. Circuit Court torched nearly every aspect of Trump's main arguments, reminding us all that for the purpose of this criminal case, former President Trump has become Citizen Trump, with all of the defenses of any other criminal defendant. Rulings on emergency applications can come at any time. Friend of the show and Supreme Court scholar Neil Katyal suspects we will know whether the court will hear the immunity case within the next 72 hours. And joining me now is MSNBC legal analyst Neil Katyal, professor of law at Georgetown University and former acting solicitor general. And I don't know what you're rooting for. I'm not going to guess, Neil, but what I'm rooting for is that the Supreme Court says we're going to stay out of it, because I did read that 57-page ruling by the D.C. Circuit Court. Looked good to me.
That's exactly right, Joy. The Supreme Court gets about 10,000 requests a year to hear cases, and it hears about 60. And it only hears cases in which granting the case and hearing it is going to make a difference to the parties. And here, I don't think there's any way, shape, or form in which hearing this case is going to change the bottom line result that Donald Trump doesn't have absolute immunity. I mean, it's true. The Supreme Court has never squarely said a former president has absolute immunity from criminal acts, but that's because no president has ever acted so preposterously as to advance such a notion. It's so obvious. And, you know, what made it really clear was the oral argument in this case in the Court of Appeals, when Trump's lawyer admitted basically that their theory would mean Donald Trump could send out Navy SEAL Team 6 while president to assassinate his political rival, and there'd be no criminal consequences. That's an insane proposition. It's everything that we fought the revolution against. And so, yes, I don't think the Supreme Court should touch this case with a 10-foot pole. It's thorough, it's well written, it's a unanimous decision with a very conservative judge on the Court of Appeals siding totally against Donald Trump, lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah, just leave it as it is. Let's talk about the other case that they did hear. And it was fascinating to listen to the oral arguments in this Colorado case. It seems clear to me that Donald Trump violated, and look, I'm not a lawyer, but just my layman's ear listening to it, that he did violate Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. If they say he didn't, or they say he can be on the ballot, what are the implications of that?
So first of all, I agree with your premise. I think that the whole history behind the 14th Amendment, Section 3, is about something like Donald Trump. And so I think there's a right legal answer to this question. Did Donald Trump violate the 14th Amendment? It's a clear legal answer, and the answer is yes. Unfortunately, I think the oral argument, and oral arguments matter, I think the oral argument by the challengers to Donald Trump went terribly for them. They had no coherent theory about what they were saying or about the original understanding of this important amendment, which, you know, you and I know was, you know, forged at the most important moment in our nation's history when, you know, thousands of lives had been shed for a principle, and we wanted to make sure that insurrectionists would not come back into our government. And now, lo and behold, insurrectionists have come back or are about to come back into our government, and that's what they're running for. That's what this 14th Amendment dispute is all about. And unfortunately, none of that really came out. So I do unfortunately suspect the U.S. Supreme Court will deny what the Colorado Supreme Court did, because the Colorado Supreme Court was left virtually defenseless.
Wow, that's unfortunate. All right, let me let you listen to Letitia James, because this is on the other side. This might actually be real accountability for Trump, financial accountability. Here's Letitia James tonight on ABC News.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
So we know that Donald Trump was ordered to pay $355 million plus interest. And right now the interest has got it up above north of $450 million. What do you make of the fact that she is saying they're going to come for the assets? Because that really actually is the only kind of accountability he seems to be facing, financial.
Yeah, so Donald Trump owes now over $500 million when you combine these judgments last week with the Jean Carroll judgments. And at over $500 million, we're not in bake sale territory anymore. This is, to use Donald Trump's words, huge money that he's going to have to come up with in a short amount of time. He's going to have to sell an awful lot of tacky gold sneakers to pay off those judgments. Maybe he thinks Mexico is going to pay for it. I don't know. But this is, finally the rule of law coming to Donald Trump and holding him accountable. And I think what New York's done here and their willingness to signal, we are going to go after this money. This is money we won after a trial. You lost, Donald Trump. So now it's our turn to collect. I think they're going to collect. And I think it's going to pose, for the first time, Donald Trump starting to face the music.
There is an irony to me, Neil, that it does feel like all the little guys went to prison at every level of the insurrection. But it does seem that for Donald Trump, he does seem to always wriggle away. And the only way he is being made to pay is by people like Letitia James that are making him pay out of his pockets. Is that what we're looking at here, that that's the only way he's going to pay us financially for all of these crimes?
No, I don't think so. So, remember on March 25th, the criminal trial is going to begin. And up until March 25th, I agree with you. Michael Cohen went to jail for those crimes. Trump had so far skated free. But on March 25th, there will be a criminal trial in New York over Trump's hush money payments and what he did in terms of illegal campaign contributions and the like. That's the first trial. I agree with you that he still hasn't faced accountability for January 6th, one of the most momentous horrible moments in our history, and something that's still inconceivable to me that a president of the United States would act the way he did. So he's got to face that. He's so scared. That's why he goes and runs to the Supreme Court pleading absolute immunity, because he's afraid of a trial. He's afraid of what a jury would say.
Yeah, if Enrique Tarrio has to go to jail for it, and if he should have to go to jail for it. You're right. It was the most scurrilous, scandalous thing any president has ever done. And if he gets away with it, shame on us as a country. Neil Katyal, thank you very much.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you. So I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on. When is it not? Please. Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I'll assume that we're going on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
The Megatron.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy, sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark. General Marshall! General! We need to evac immediately. Evac. Hold on. National security advisor. Stay down. Check it out. There is celebrations. The amateurs suicide mission.
So I